Where? Beautiful. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Promoting Your Child's Emotional Well-Being. My name is Josephine Crisostomo, and I work with the Strategic Partnerships team at the Mayor's Office of Community Mental Health. So, welcome all, and thank you for joining me today and learning a little bit more on how to support our children, but also the youth that are in our lives. There we are. The Mayor's Office of Community Mental Health is an unprecedented citywide commitment to promote mental health for all New Yorkers, and that includes regardless of insurance, regardless of immigration or documentation status, and age as well. We partner with 13 city agencies and nearly 200 nonprofits to support 30 innovative mental health programs that serve thousands of New Yorkers every year. This is a very important task for us in order to reach our all New Yorkers, but specifically our youngest New Yorkers, our youth and our children. We've gone through an intense year. We've all been affected by it, but knowing how our children have been affected by it as well is important to know, and important to know how to support them and what can we do for them at this time. So we'll dig in a little bit in a little bit. My apologies. So, our goal for today is to gain a foundational understanding of youth mental health, to understand the importance of building connections and healthy relationships, and to learn key resources that we can pass on to our youth and ways to support our youth mental health better. Now, why are we doing this work? For many reasons and many times, mental health is not seen as equal to physical health. Many times we are ready and willing to make sure that we're healthy, physically healthy, make sure that we go to our annual physicals, make sure that we're physically feeling okay. But when it comes to our mental, not so much. It may go to the backside. These may be things that we don't really have time or resources to kind of think about or to address. So we do want to speak today that mental health crisis is as important as any other health crisis, as any other physical crisis. We need to address or think about mental health in the same way that we think about physical health. If your leg is broken, you're most likely going to go to the doctor. You're not going to, let it kind of limp around for a year, let it get worse. Your immediate reaction will be, okay, I need to go to the doctor. I need to get a cast, make sure everything's okay. That's the same way that we should think about our mental health. If we're concerned about anything about within ourselves, but also within our youth or anyone else that we love or see in our communities, it's important to think about mental health in the same way and reach out and get support. The quickest we get support, the better it is to receive the needed resources and support that is needed. So let's get a little bit deeper into mental health and learn a little bit more. So it is important to look at mental health as being on a spectrum. And mental health can be defined as a state of well-being in which people can cope with the normal stressors of life, they can work productively, and can contribute to their communities. So as you see, the actual definition of mental health doesn't have a negative or a positive connotation to it. It's just a state of well-being, how you're able to manage, how you're able to move forward throughout your daily lives. That is why mental health is best viewed on a spectrum, where our mental health can go up and down. It can vary day by day. It can vary, even throughout the day. We may wake up in one mood. We may be able to go to work and continue our lifestyle after that, and then we get in a better mood by the end of the day. Same way with life events can also affect our mental health, right? If we're going through a traumatic experience, then our mental health will be affected. Now, mental health challenges is a broader term that recognizes that we all experience emotional distress, which can be related to stress, loneliness, grief, or going through a pandemic throughout the year. Now, a mental health diagnosis is a diagnosable condition that can negatively affect your day-to-day functioning, and it can affect the way that you are able to connect with others and your relationships as well. So this can include a diagnosis of depression, anxiety, a diagnosis of schizophrenia, or can include also addictions. Now, it's important to note that mental health diagnoses must be diagnosed by a clinician or a practitioner, a mental health professional. A mental health challenge we can all go through. We can all go through different events in our lives that can challenge our mental health, challenge our emotional well being. Again, I go back to COVID-19 and the year that we have had. Many of us have dealt with a lot of emotions and a lot of our mental health throughout this past year, trying to just cope, trying to just find ways where we can keep our normalcy throughout the unnormal, right? So let's continue. So I just want to go over some key terms right here. We will be discussing a few of these terms throughout the presentation today, but just to get a very basic definition. So stigma is the very big reason why so many folks do not receive the mental health support and the mental health resources that they need. And it's due to that fear of being shamed or being judged for seeking mental health care. Now, in my community, I live in the Bronx. I've lived in New York City my whole life, and I'm Latina. In our culture, and this is in many cultures, and all of our cultures pretty much, we all have those specific ways of thinking when it comes to mental health. For many of my community members, it's that fear that you may be seen in a different light. You may be seen in a negative way. You may be judged. People may not see you as a whole person if you do seek out mental health care and mental health support. And this is why it's so important to have these conversations, to open up our minds when it comes to mental health and provide the support when it's needed, especially with our children. They're amazing advocates at this point. I work a lot with the youth, specifically in mental health, and they're speaking about this a lot more. They're not scared as to our generation where we didn't really speak about this. They're opening up. And it's time for us to also open up about it as parents, as adults in their lives. So risk factors are biological, psychological, family, community, or cultural characteristics that may increase the effects and impact of stressful life events or of getting a mental health challenge. So risk factors can include utilizing substance abuse, living in a community with high violence, living in poverty, or just taking risk-taking behaviors, right? Hanging out late at night, drinking when you're under the age. These can be risk factors that can increase the chances of developing a mental health challenge. Now, protective factors are those same characteristics, but that decrease the impact of stressful life events and that bolster well-being. So we'll speak a little bit about protective factors in the next few slides, but it's important to note that risk factors aren't all that there is. There are protective factors out there that we can gravitate to and we can encourage our youth to be a part of in order to ensure that their mental health is well taken care of. Now, warning signs are important. These are ways that we can understand or be able to identify if a development of mental health challenges is increasing. So these are specific and individualized changes within a person. And what it is important to note is how drastic these changes are affecting that person's life. How drastic these changes are that they're affecting their day-to-day life. So these warning signs we'll speak about in a little bit as well. Just wanted to provide a context and a little definition to each of these of words and phrases. So why is mental health so important? Because mental health, as I mentioned earlier, is very common. Here in New York, 1 in 5 New Yorkers experience a mental health disorder in any given year. In any given year, 1 in 10 New Yorkers experiences depression. Now, many of us don't think that mental health may affect our youngest New Yorkers, our little itty bitty young New Yorkers from the ages of 2 years old, right? But 8% of New York City children from the age of 2 to 12 have already received a formal mental health diagnosis. And 4% of our adult New Yorkers experience serious mental health challenges within a given year. Now, more specifically with our youth, we said 1 in 5 New Yorkers, so 1 in 5 adults experiences a mental health condition. With our youth, 1 in 6 youth experience a mental health condition each year. Now, with that, more than half do not receive any support that is needed. Over 60 million or six, oh, excuse me, 60% or 1.8 million of our young New Yorkers are diagnosed with depression, but do not receive any mental health treatment at all. And there can be many reasons for this. It can be that same stigma that is associated with mental health and that fear of your child or their child being stigmatized, being judged for receiving any mental health treatment. It can also be a fact of insurance. Mental health and seeking mental health support is difficult to navigate, and we understand that, especially for folks that do not have the resources out there available to them. So it's a difficult task to navigate through mental health, especially when it comes with our children, to find a provider that can understand our cultures, right? So it's important to address that. Now, 90% of LGBTQ youth stated that they have been negatively impacted by the racial violence in our country in the last year, and they are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their straight peers. Now, this comes from a survey that the Trevor Project did within the last year during COVID, and it did explain that our LGBTQ youth felt very triggered at the time, and their mental health was being impacted by the political climate of our nation last year, and also the racial violence and police brutality that was going on through the last year, and that feeling of not being safe or feeling unsafe even within their own communities. Now, if we stated all these facts, we do want to put out there that suicide continues to be the second leading cause of death among youth ages 15 to 24. So I know these facts can be a little bit grim and a little bit gray, but just to put out there the importance that it is for us adults to be a support system for our youth. Not only are they going through a change of their year, right? Last year they were not in school, they were going through hybrid learning or remote learning completely, and now they're back to being in school and learning how to socialize once again and learning how to be in a room with their peers and interacting with one another. So they're going through a lot of challenges given the past year, and we need to be there to support them. We need to be there to so that they know that we have a listening ear. We're here to support them and we're here to help. Now, we spoke about those warning signs and how to be able to identify those drastic changes within a person's normal or regular day characteristics, right? So, certain signs that can help you recognize if a young person is experiencing a mental health challenge can be any one of these bullets on the screen. So, we want to emphasize that it is an excessive or a prolonged period of time that these emotions or these signs are going on. So if they're feeling sad or they're withdrawing from activities that they once used to be a part of for more than 2 weeks, that should be a kind of an alarm for you or a sign of concern. What else can I do? What is going on here? Of course, if they're self-harming or taking risk-taking behaviors, as we said before, using substance abuse, staying out late with the wrong crowds, hanging out with even different crowds that they never hung out with before, loss of interest in things that they used to love, severe mood swings or nightmares. They can get irritable, and this is again prolonged over 2 weeks, just continuous irritability, continuous anger, withdrawing from their favorite activities, as we mentioned before, or even that feeling of hopeless or helpless. And a lot of times we can't tell these things because they're internal, but there may be some phrases that are being said that can get you to see these signs, right? Feeling like, oh, it's all over, like it's not worth it. I hear a lot of the youngins say that it's not worth it, it's not worth my time. So if you continue to hear things like that throughout 2 weeks, it's time to ask more questions and it's time to kind of dig in to see what else is going on there. Now, as we stated, with all these signs and symptoms, the main thing we want to notice is how drastic these changes are and how drastic they are to their baseline, to their normalcy, to the way that they usually interact day to day. Have these changes in behavior changed drastically from how they normally are or how they typically behave? You also want to know, as I said, more than 2 weeks. So, how long have all these emotions and negative feelings been going on? And you want to know how much these symptoms occur or how they affect their daily lives. Is it to a point now where they can't go to school any longer or don't want to go to school? It's literally like they're dragging their feet to go to activities. That may be a sign that you should be asking more questions. Now that we have gone through some definitions, some facts in regards to youth mental health and the signs to watch out for in the development of mental health challenges, let's now speak about tactics and strategies to promote their well-being. So for supportive communication and ways to support them, we urge you to use the LEAP guide for interactions. And LEAP was created by Dr. Amador from Columbia University, who was able to establish ways to communicate to youth, but also to adults about their mental health in a way that they feel supported, in a way that they feel that you are there to help them and to connect them to care. So LEAP stands for LEAP. The L stands for listen. You want to listen without placing any judgment. And you want to use reflective language. You want to make sure that the youth understands that you are there to listen, that you are there to provide assistance, but that you're also listening to what they have to say without placing any judgment. It's not, these are their feelings, and allow them the space to just kind of let those feelings go and explain to you what's going on. Now you want to empathize with them and you want to express that you understand their feelings. Now you don't have to agree with everything they say, but you can provide an understanding, such as I can understand how that can be you going through those events can cause you to feel this way, right? Getting that common understanding that you understand what they're going through, or at least you understand what they're telling you. You want to agree with them and find common areas to agree with, right? Or to agree to disagree. Not always will you be able to agree with everything that's being said or how they're expressing the way that they feel, but you can again empathize with them and agree, yeah, if I were going through all these things, I would also feel this way, right? Making sure that they feel supported. And you also want to partner with them. You want them to feel that this is a shared goal. You as well as themselves, they want to get better. They want to get the help that is needed or the resources that they need, right? So you want to come to that achieved goal or that same goal together. Let's something you can say in order to form partnership is stating, it's good that you're thank you for letting me know all your feelings and how you're feeling today. I appreciate that. Now, is it okay if we both go and maybe look up some resources for you? So creating kind of that bond. We're here together, we're doing this together, you are not alone. Now, utilizing LEAP, these are some supportive communication methods that you can utilize with your youth. As we stated, you want to make yourself available just to listen and without placing any judgment. So some things you can say, and of course you can spruce this around in your own personal way, make it you. Make it that it's about the youth in your life, but that it's genuinely you coming to them to provide support. It seems like you're going through a tough time. I'm here to talk whenever you're ready. Is it okay if I check in with you from time to time? So not forcing them to talk at that time, right? If they're not ready to speak, if they don't have the words at that time to speak to you and explain how they're feeling, that's okay. And let them know that's okay. I'm here whenever you're ready. You can come and get me. And or you can also state, is it okay if I check in with you? Is it okay if every morning we check in and just, see how your feelings are and go from there? Now you want to talk to them about these changes that you've seen, right? We spoke about the drastic changes in their baseline or their typical behavior. So this past year has been super hard on all of us. I can see that you're carrying a lot. Over the past 2 weeks, I haven't seen you hanging out with your friends and your energy seems very low. Can we check in whenever you're ready? So again, detailing exactly what you're seeing. You want to make sure that they know that you let them know that you have noticed these changes. You're seeing them, and you see that they may be carrying a lot. They may be going through a lot. So let them know what you're seeing, how long you've been seeing it for, and this makes it not so arbitrary, right? Oh, I think you're going through something, but makes it very specific. I see that if for the last 2 weeks you haven't hang out with Johnny and you usually hang out with Johnny all the time. So naming that and letting them again, giving them the space to explain it however they want to explain it and whenever they want to explain it. And of course, you want to reassure them that it's safe to talk to you. You never want to scare a child or a youth when speaking to them in regards to mental health. That may deter them from even reaching out to you once again. That may deter them from even reaching out for additional supports altogether. So you want to make sure that you reassure them that they're safe, that it's okay to speak to you, and it's okay to have these feelings, whatever they're going through. Thank you so much for sharing this with me. I know this is hard, and I am glad you told me. I want to make sure you're safe and that I support you in the best way. Let's work together to find some supports that can help you. Would that be okay? And again, here, it's that partnership. You're not alone. I'm here to help you. Let's work together to find some supports that can help you. And remember, this is on the youth. This is on the young person to make this decision. Now, of course, mom, dad, parents out there, you will want to push them to supports, and that's just because it's a natural thing. You want to help your child. But allow them that sense of individuality and that sense of being able to make a choice about themselves. Is it okay if we work together to find your supports? And you never know. You may find some different ways that they may need support, and they might not be just in the traditional ways that we may think. It may be just more activities that need to be done or more supports elsewhere, more adult supports elsewhere, right? So with that being said, why is it so important that us adults ask these questions? Why is it so important that us adults reach out to our students so that they know that we're here for them, that they know that we're here to support them and help them through anything that they're going through? And it's because strong relationships can build psychological safety for our youth. Now, the CDC conducted this study, and they provided this information that children that were able to, or excuse me, adults that in their youth were able to connect with adults in their lives were 48 to 66% less likely to develop mental health issues, to experience any violence in their life, also to engage in risky sexual behavior, and we're less likely to use substances. So, building that relationship and having a trusting adult in a youth's life can positively affect their mental health overall. Now, this relationship building and this connectedness with adults helps create a sense of belonging, helps create a sense of community. I have an adult here that's willing to talk to me, that's willing to support me, and there's no hierarchical uh, kind of relationship here. We can see each other sort of as equals, right? We can see each other as community members, as building community, and you're here to support me. Having adult relationships and connectedness can also increase the overall physical health, decreases chances of depression and anxiety, and supports the management of stress. Now, interestingly enough, again, through the Trevor Project, it was found that LGBTQ youth that had at least one accepting adult in their lives, one accepting parent in their lives, were 40% less likely to report a suicide attempt in the previous year. So we see how impactful it is to build these adult relationships and these healthy relationships with our youth. And why is it important? Connectedness can come from strong familial support and relationships. So, strong community supports, strong supports within the family, feeling accepted within the family. If you have religious or spiritual engagement, that can be a great way or fostering connectedness and healthy relationships. Again, having a great sense of community and that peer support, that you're supported all throughout school year, that you're also supported at home, that you're also supported in your community. Additional supports by adults can help foster that sense of belonging and that sense of positive mental health. Now, it's also important for you to be a protective factor, as we mentioned earlier, and a healthy and a trusting adult in these youth's life. With building that relationship with youth, we can help them find and navigate their sense of their own identity, right? Their sense of who they are, ethnically, racially, also gender and sexuality. It's important to to allow our students, or excuse me, our youth, to know that we have that support for them. We're here to help you navigate through identification. We're here to support you. Now, why is this important? Once again, it is very important because trusting relationships is a way to connect with our students, but also a way to support their student mental health. And with that being said, in the last year, our office, the Office of Community Mental Health, in connection with the JET Foundation and Ogilvy Health and the Department of Education, have launched a campaign called the Let's Talk NYC to support student mental health. Now, this training has been available to all school-based staff. And by school-based staff, we mean anyone and everyone who works with youth. So this can be a teacher, this can be a janitor within the school building, can include a cafeteria worker, coaches, safety agents, and parent coordinators. Now, what we did with this training is that we trained school staff to become mental health allies. And by mental health allies, we would hope that adults in the school building can help students reduce the stigma that is associated with sharing mental health challenges, that they can encourage open and supportive communication about mental health, increase knowledge and practices to maintain student privacy, and increase referral pathways to mental health resources and services. Now, the reason this was created was through the Chancellor's Student Advisory Committee, CSAC it is also called. These are student leaders within different boroughs, within different schools that provide different aspects of things that they would like to change. So they provided us with information that they would like adults in their school buildings, but adults in their lives, to be able to speak to them about their mental health, be able to support them about their mental health, but they also wanted to know what is privacy and how to maintain privacy. What can adults keep private and what do they have to report out? So that's why the Let's Talk campaign was created. And for parents, we have created a guide in order to encourage you also to provide or also to have these conversations with students. What we want to do is create kind of a holistic approach when it comes to mental health for our youth, right? We are approaching their mental health and supporting their mental health within the schools, and with teachers and with their community members within the schools, but that our parents are also there to support them and continue this work even at home. So you have created this guide, what to do if you're concerned about your teen's mental health. And it's a conversational guide. It can help you again recognize the signs that your teen may be struggling. So going through a little bit of what we mentioned earlier in the presentation can prepare you emotionally to have that conversation. We understand that it is taxing to have these conversations with our youth. Many times we are scared or we don't know what to say in return. So this guide will help you kind of navigate what to say and how to say it. And know what ways your teen, know what to do if your teen denies any support. Know what to do to navigate additional ways to provide them support and help. And of course, ways to follow up with the conversation and how to gain supports outside of your home, outside of school, external supports within your community. Now, if you scan your camera on the QR code on the screen, it'll take you directly to the parent guide that you can download right from the Let's Talk NYC.org website. So please ensure that you go through the parent guide. We wanted to provide you some context on the Let's Talk because it has become a New York City-wide commitment. We have trained over 1,000 teachers within the school system, and we're hoping to train many, and excuse me, I said teachers. I should say school-based staff. So we have trained over 1,000 school-based staff on how to support their students. And our goal is that students will know that they're trusted adults, these mental health allies within their school building, and that they actively reach out to them, that they don't wait around and kind of hold these feelings inside, but that they feel protected and that they feel also supported by all the adults in their community. Now, we also wanted to provide you with additional resources and some upcoming panels that we have for parents specifically. So starting next week, also in partnership with the JET Foundation, we're launching a workshop series, 3-part workshop series. The first will be held on Wednesday, November 3rd at 11:30, and it's for employers and how employers can support support and promote parents' mental health within their employment, within their work, within their jobs. So this will be now moderated, by Dr. Nance Roy from the JED Foundation, and will provide strategies on how to implement and how to support parents in the workforce. Now, the following Tuesday, November 9th, we will have another panel that will be speaking about ways that parents can promote their own mental health. We cannot provide supports, we cannot help someone else if we are not well ourselves, if we ourselves don't know where to navigate and when to find our own supports. So this will be moderated by Dr. Susan Button at the JED Foundation, and will provide you strategies and resources on how to address your own mental health, how to address stress, how to be how to find emotional wellness while trying to navigate your child's emotional wellness as well. And then the following Tuesday, on November 16th at 4 p.m., we will be having a student and teen panel where teens will speak about their mental health, will inform parents and adults in the room about what their needs are, what they see their mental health needs are, how we can support them better. And we will be hearing directly from youth and their experiences with mental health. I find this panel to be extremely important and extremely interesting because our students will speak directly to us. And as I stated in the beginning, our students have used their voices throughout the past year, have advocated for themselves, and it's time for us to listen and provide feedback and provide support. So I hope that you were able to join us for our panel starting next week. Again, if you scan the QR code on the right side, you will be guided to our Eventbrite page where you can register for all of these panels coming up. Now, on our website, our Office of Community Mental Health website, we have a slew of resources and information. So I do urge you to visit our website and get acquainted with all of our supports. But two specific supports that we have just launched are an additional guide on how to talk to young people about mental health. As you can see, we have multiple ways of navigating how to talk to our young folks, and this is because they have asked for this. They have asked for adults to be available and accessible to them, so we're providing every guidance on how to do that. Now, this guide can help you learn how to talk with young people about their mental health, again, maintaining that privacy, what to say and how to say it, building that trust, and making connections with mental health providers. If you scan the QR code up top, it will take you directly to that guide. Now, not only for our youth, we have other adults in our lives that may also be suffering through mental health, that may also need more supports. And we have provided you with a guide on how to help someone navigate through mental health. This will help you navigate on how to get no or low cost healthcare, mental health care at that, where to get mental health care, where to access mental health care in your neighborhoods, in your communities, and how to get someone else to access mental health care within their communities. This guide is also available on our website, but again, if you scan the QR code here on the left, it will take you directly to that guide. Now, at this time, I do want to say thank you. I do want to leave you with two of our additional resources on our page. The first QR code will take you to our youth partnership page, where you can see all the strategic partnerships for our youth. We have partnered with city agencies, nonprofits, and community-based organizations to provide and fill gaps where mental health care is needed for our youngest New Yorkers. So please look out for our website, please look out for our page, and get acquainted with all of our partnerships and what we're doing around the city. And lastly, please visit our community mental health page just to learn more about mental health. Again, thank you for being here, and I will open it up now to any Q&A, any questions, any comments that anyone will have. All right, well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate everyone for being here today.
Yeah, excuse me.
Oh, sorry, there you go.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you so much.
Yeah. I have a simple question. Which are positive sides of the mental health?
What was that? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last part. Hello?
Yeah. Which things are positive sides of mental health of a
Positive
student?
types of mental health?
Yeah.
Yeah, so positive sides of mental health is really looked at as ways for you to cope, right? So if you're able to cope, if you're not able to cope, but in the ways that you cope, correct? So if you find ways that you're stressed, you're anxious, you're going through some type of challenge at the time, emotional challenge at the time, but you're able to navigate through that. You're able to find the resources yourself, to find the supports that you need, right? For many times, for me myself, and I'm not saying I have all the time positive mental health, right? But for
Yeah.
me, I can't say that all the time. But for me myself, when I do feel stressed, let's say, or anxiety, I go around for a walk. And that's my way of kind of coping through that. My way of kind of finding another way through to navigate through that anxiety, through that stress. So positive mental health is not necessarily something that we're reaching out for, but it's more of what ways can we support
Yeah,
ourselves.
I can add something. Sporting is apart from for a good mental health.
Smoking?
Sporting, sports.
Oh, sports?
Yeah,
Oh, yes, being active, definitely. So just like I mentioned in the beginning, that mental health should be looked at similarly to physical health. Anything that has to do with physical health will improve your mental health, right? So if you're taking
yeah.
care of your body, if you're going and doing sports, if you're doing physical activities, not only is your body going to look great and but you're also going to feel great. Those endorphins and all of that is going to help you be able to I don't know how to say this, navigate your emotional well-being a little bit better.
So we can arrange some games in the school.
Yes, we
Yeah,
do. We do
yeah,
need more sports and more activities within the school. I do agree with you there.
yeah. Thank you.
Of course, of course. I do want to say though, we do have partnerships with the New York Public Library and a few other organizations that offer activities for us adults, that offer different activities to stay physically active. So just throwing that out there because us parents also need support as well.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Mohammed.
You are welcome. Uh,
All right, everyone. Any additional questions? Any additional comments? Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys being here, learning more on how to support emotional well-being. And this will be recorded and this will be posted on the Parent University site. So please make sure to let your other peers, your other parents know that this is available and this is a great resource for them to utilize as well. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
thank you too.